Are you confused about what you really need in your home woodworking shop for dust collection? Well, this video is for you. Hey, welcome to the shop. This is Terry. We're going to take a little dive today into home wood shop specifically, dust collection. And there is some really good information out there. There's some really bad information out there. And I've watched a lot of videos and I thought, you know what, I just need to make one and see if we can just really put out there what works. And let me give you a little background. I started woodworking in 2000, and like most everybody did, I started with the shop vac, and figured out really quickly that didn't help me. The wood dust really bothered me, and I needed to solve that. So I started researching and immediately found Bill Pence and Pence's website. So I actually contacted Bill, and Bill and I ended up working together. Matter of fact, he has an acknowledgement page that you can see my name listed there. So I helped Bill. Bill is a wonderful engineer and really the grandfather of home wood shop dust collection, and really the pioneer in really getting out there what wood shop dust was doing, to your lungs, to your health. And it's just an amazing, I'll link to his website, and it's a massive amount of information, but it's an amazing amount of information too, or amazing information. He really gets down to brass tacks about what's harming us the most. And like I said, so much bad information out there. I just want to see if we can clear the air over what these are really about and what we need to be doing in the workshop. So let's start off with the shop vac. The shop vac has its place, but not really the greatest for actual dust collection. The regular shop vac filter does not filter nearly well enough. We need to get down to really small amounts to being able to filter out the smallest of the wood dust that honestly you can't see. The human eye can see down to about 40 microns, and the most harmful dust is many times smaller than that. And the amount of that's suspended in the air is amazing to you, and you can't, like I said, you can't see it. So just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's there, because these machines, especially when we're sanding or doing those sorts of things, are making an immense amount of dust that you really can't see, that's impregnating itself in your lungs and really is detrimental, especially over a long period of time. So the shop vac, you can put filter bags in there. You can put a HEPA filter on it. A lot of people are using, the little the little mini cyclones that are on a 5-gallon bucket or whatever to help separate the big chips to make the filters, last longer and all that. And all that's fine, but you have to remember that everything that you put in between that, whatever you're using, the shop vac or whatever, and wherever you're trying to pick up the dust, is really hurting the efficiency. And I'll link to some videos down below, but there's some videos that actually look exactly to that. There's no reason for me to do it. I'll just link to good ones. So I'll do that. And some of those are decently efficient, but a lot of those are actually reducing the efficiency of the shop vac or whatever's on by as much as almost half. So it's a double-edged sword with the separators. And so that brings us up to the introduction of the extractors. And the extractors, a lot of people are big Festool fans, and hey, Festool stuff is great. I own absolutely zero Festool stuff. And I should say, and I will say, that I have no sponsorships of any kind. Nobody's paying me to sell anything here. I'm going to recommend some stuff that I think is good and some stuff that's helpful in the shop, but none of that's, I'm not sponsored by anybody that I'm recommending here. And I'll have links down in the description for everything that we're talking about here. And I invite your comments. I invite your questions. That's what this is all about, is we're just here to try to educate, try to really put some good information out there, and hopefully cancel out some of this not so good information that's out there. So it brings us to the dust extractor. So almost every one of them that I know of has HEPA filters, which are really good. They're filtering down to like 98% of 0.3 micron particles, and sometimes even lower. And there's some videos that show how, even though it says 0.3, it can actually get lower than that. As time goes on, we'll link to that stuff too. So, but these have bags in them, so you can collect the bigger stuff, make it a little bit easier to deal with, and filter out a lot before it gets to those HEPA filters. Some of these have self-cleaning. This one actually does. When it's running, you can actually hear it. It's puffing a little air backwards through the system inside, so it's actually blowing the dust out of the two HEPA filters that are in there. So that's a cool deal. Air cleaners like this have been really, really popular, and our intent really is to capture as much of this when we make it, not to let it get in the air. But the reality of the situation is, in the home wood shop, that a lot of this is going to get in the air, and like we already talked about, a lot of it that's in the air you're not even going to see. So these overhead air filters are really a good plan. You have to see what the level of filtration is here. So like in this Shop Fox, and it's sold Grizzly and Win, and there's a bunch of different people that sell this exact same one. And it filters down to 1 micron. It's a 2-level filter. The outside filter is 5 microns, and then the bags that are inside are 1 micron bags. So it does filter down to 1 micron, and it will clean the air in your shop for sure. I know a lot of people are doing the like box fan filters, and they actually work really well. Most of them actually have more CFM than these do, and obviously they're cheaper. I think these are around $200, and obviously with the box fan and a good like MERV 17 or 18 filter on there, you can actually get down lower. So, and there's videos for that too. I'll link to one of those. It's one of my favorite ones of building the box fan there. But the bottom line to this deal is you have to clean this air, and no one of these is gonna take care of it. You need a bigger collector for these really big producers. The planer, the joiner, the table saw, all of these type things just immediately overwhelm this size. It's been a huge blessing for me to be able to get it, but I have a 20-inch Grizzly planer, and it will literally, I have a Cyclone. I built several Cyclones when Bill and I were working together, and the one that I built for myself, we'll show it. Matter of fact, I'll just put it up here. So the one that I built for myself does a really good job, but it is amazing if you start planing in the 20-inch planer, how fast it fills up a 55-gallon drum. So these, like the shop vac and the planer, man, it just doesn't get along very well. And it's almost impossible to use a regular shop vac and just not have to stop constantly and empty the thing. And a lot of these are prone to plugging up just because of the huge volume. I mean, obviously it depends on how much you're taking off, you know the drill. But the huge volume that goes into this is just a pain. And like I said, at these bigger producers, especially like at the table saw dust extraction is really difficult. And I'll show you what we have here. And that's, I mean, that's pretty much the optimum. And I built all that stuff. So we'll come back in more videos, and we're going to have a bunch of different videos showing the duct work that I have, what the theory is behind that, how to get this air moving, how to change hoods on the machines and all that. But the bottom line is no one thing is going to solve this. If you have a regular dust collector, then that's fine because it moves a lot of air. It doesn't have much pressure, but it moves a lot of air. And that's what you need for these bigger producers. These type machines, they don't move a lot of air, but they have a lot of pressure. And that's what you need for your sander, your track saw, your router, those sorts of things, and you're able to collect that right. I mean, absolutely right by where the dust is being made. Where the rest of these, you're having to get it after it's made in a much bigger environment, in the planer, especially in the table saw and in the joiner. So it's going to take all of that. So let me talk about some things not to buy. For years, I had one too. When I got rid of the shop vac, I went to a double bag style collector, and please do not buy those. Those are the worst. The first thing is, well, in the shop vacs too, I mean, if you believe that thing right there for real can make 6.5 horsepower plugged into a 120 volt 15 amp circuit, I mean, I don't believe that for a minute. The Cyclone that I have has a Leeson 5 horsepower motor on it, and it's 240 volts. It pulls over about 21 amps at full load, and the thing weighs like 60 pounds, just the motor. So I don't think this is really making 6.5 horsepower. And the CFM ratings in general, where that came from, I don't know. And I've done an extensive amount of testing. I did just a ton of testing when Bill and I were working together with a magnehelic gauge and working the right formulas and really knowing how much air is coming. I'll show you more stuff that you can judge with, but that's really the way to know, is to use a magnehelic gauge and actually figure it out from there. And these collectors that are 120 volt collectors that are just plugging into a regular wall that say that they're making 1500 CFM or whatever, that's just not true. And I wish it was, but it's not. And they say that, well, that's just the blower, that, you know, just the blower by itself will make 1500. Well, that's all well and good, but we're not using just the blower. We have ductwork, or we have flex hose, we have filters, we have the restrictions at the machine itself, we have all of this. And you know, a lot of these machines, I mean, you need to be getting like 600 CFM for real at these machines to effectively collect what you need to collect. So all of these CFM ratings, all of these horsepower ratings, you can use that just to judge, this one's bigger than that one, this one probably moves more air than that one, but don't trust those numbers. And because I promise you those numbers are wrong. And we're going to do a whole series of dust collection videos, so I'll show you as we go along the testing procedures and just what it takes to really make 1800 CFM, 1500 CFM, 1000 CFM at the machines. I'll show you what's really necessary there. So, but the worst thing in the world in those bag collectors is the bags themselves, because anybody that has one knows that the second that you turn it on and the bags go poof, well, what happens? All this dust that you can see goes into the air. Well, we already talked about how much dust is going into the air that you can't see. And those things just become dust pumps, not dust collectors. They collect what you sweep up off the floor, but it's just taking this massive amount of dust and pumping it out into the air. And not only is it pumping it out into the air, but it's pumping it out at eye level into the air right where you're going to breathe it. So that style collector, as long as it has a canister filter on it, is not a bad plan at all. Harbor Freight has them, Jet has them. I mean, there's a whole bunch of different ones, but we're all looking for the deal. And I'm a shopper, so I'm looking for the deal. That's why I have this and not a Festool. I think this is just as effective as the Festool. Is it as nice? No. You know, does it have as nice a hose on it? No. Is it just as effective in my mind? Absolutely. So the best thing that I can suggest as far as a bigger collector is I think it's $459 now, the Bauer canister style collector from Harbor Freight. And the canister filter that's on it, it only filters down to 2 microns, but let's be real. Let's be real and honest in the home shop. So I want you guys to be protected, and girls to be protected. But 2 microns is not a bad rating. Is there dust smaller than that? Absolutely. Is it harmful? Absolutely. Can we help get that with an overhead air cleaner down to 1 micron? Absolutely. Can we capture it more if we build a little box fan filter with HEPA filters or MERV 17, MERV 18 filters? Absolutely. So I encourage you to do some of that too, to try to get this airborne dust out. But we got to collect as much as we can, and that Bauer collector, which I think it's $4.59 or something right now at the time that we're filming this, to me is the most cost-effective way to collect the dust. And I would not personally, I know a lot of people have, but I would not personally run that with a bunch of duct work. And you could do it with minimal duct work, but that machine is on wheels for a reason. You need the least amount of, it has a two-way for two 4-inch hoses. I would only put one 4-inch hose on it, and I would keep it as short as I possibly could and connect right to the machines. Like I said, to your table saw, to your planer, to your joiner, to your, if you have stuff like a drum sander, like I have a jet drum sander. I mean, that's a spot where you need that level of collection for those sort of tools. If your tools have 2.5-inch ports, we'll go through this in another video, but I'm going to encourage you as soon as you can to change those ports. I mean, can you take that 4 and reduce it down to 2.5? You can. Is it the best? It's not, but it's better than nothing. And right now, so many people out there, I fear, are literally doing nothing or doing the wrong thing with these bag collectors, or they're running a ton of duct work on a collector that flat out cannot power it. I mean, you need about 4,000, some say 3,000, I say 4. You need between 3,000 and 4,000 feet per minute duct speed just to keep everything suspended in the duct till it gets to the collector. And again, like we talked about with the shop vac, you can use one of those, like the little cyclone separators, before it gets to the collector to get the big stuff out of it. And those absolutely have their place. Onada has one called Low Pro, I believe it is. And from the videos that I watched, that's the one that is the most efficient at not killing the efficiency of the actual dust collector. But you got to remember, everything you put between that dust collector and the tool is going to take efficiency away from the dust collector. It's going to cost CFM. It's going to cost duct speed. I mean, that's just reality. So be careful with that. Not that you can't use them, but just be careful with that. And pay attention to the ones that don't kill the efficiency. And if you got one of those, if you got a 4-inch collector hose and you're going down to 2.5 on that thing, you're already doing something you shouldn't be doing. Let's just put it that way. So my goal here is to be real with everybody about this dust collection. Do I have a monster cyclone with a HEPA level canister filter? Absolutely. Do I have 6-inch duct work? Absolutely. Have I changed all the hoods that I possibly can on every machine that I have to improve efficiency? Absolutely. Do I use the dust extractor when I'm sanding or routing? Absolutely. I want to practice what I preach, so to speak. So I'll show you all those things, but basically, if you're working in your garage, you need to be doing something, and you need to be doing something that actually filters to the level, at least to an acceptable level. And 2 microns is really not acceptable to everybody, but it's way better than running a bag filter on one of those machines. And I just hope and pray literally that everybody that's running those bag machines will either buy a canister, or in reality, the one at Harbor Freight is so cheap. Jet has one, I'll just use them for an example, but just to buy the Jet filter is almost as much as the whole collector is from Harbor Freight, and you have a brand new collector. That's pretty effective. So that's why I'm not, Harbor Freight doesn't give me anything. I'm not a Harbor Freight guy. I'm just saying at this time, if you're looking for the economy way, I would get the Harbor Freight Bauer collector. I'd get this Harbor Freight dust extractor, and you're going to be way far along on the road to not only just not making a mess, but to collecting what you need to collect to protect your health. And you can finish that off and do a lot by either buying one of these or just making one out of the box fan. I mean, I think you can probably do one out of the box fan for 50 bucks or something. Not the most attractive thing in the world, but it does the job. So as we move along, you're going to see, like I said, we'll go into duct work. We'll go into, you know, my cyclone to the cyclones that I would recommend now. And they're a lot of money. I mean, in reality, by the time you buy a cyclone, you do the duct work, you do everything you're going to have a few $1,000s involved in this deal. But let's start off by understanding what we really need and what is the best that we can do for the least right now. And to me, those are the machines that I've already suggested. So, hey, I look forward to your comments. I look forward to your questions. Like I said, I've been doing this for a long time. I was schooled by the best that there is, and Bill Pence is an incredible engineer and just an incredible wealth of knowledge. And I've been, you know, that was the early 2000s. It was a long time ago, but our health is still the same now as it was then, and we still need to do the same things now as we do then. So we'll be back and with continuing a whole series of dust collection videos. I appreciate y'all watching. Have a great day and enjoy your wood shop.